Adrian Monk. Actor Tony Shalhoub is ultimately the reason why Monk works as a show. His inimitable performance as the ingenious detective plagued by an endless list of phobias and afflicted by his obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, makes the serial crime comedy drama at once funny, touching, tragic, and clinically incisive. Shalhoub was integral to creating one of the most captivating and complicated central heroes in the history of the crime genre. As such, the actor understands Mr. Monk better than anyone, and his favorite Monk episodes fundamentally reflect his character's growth as a person. While speaking with First for Women in December 2023, Shalhoub chose 5 Monk episodes that he considers the show's best. While they feature dramatic plot twists, hilarious storylines, and some of the greatest guest stars ever to join Monk's cast, Adrian Monk's development as a character battling with multiple psychological challenges is the heart of all these episodes. They're some of the best examples of Monk being pushed out of his comfort zone and overcoming serious obstacles to grow as a person. Mr. Monk and the End. Monk Season 8, Episodes 15 and 16. Monk's iconic double-episode finale delivers a climax worthy of an all-time great detective show. When Tony Shalhoub describes Mr. Monk and the End as complex, he's not wrong. The finale reveals who killed Trudy Monk, Adrian's wife, who remains the love of his life, while giving its protagonist and those around him the endings they each deserve, without ever looking like it's forcing the issue. It's a gripping hour and a half of television, which ends Monk with a bang rather than the whimper it threatens midway through its first part. Tony Shalhoub was most concerned about the plot thread in the finale that involves Adrian Monk being poisoned, which he highlights as perhaps the toughest part of the episode. Monk becomes very ill and close to dying, Shalhoub notes, which makes for a particularly heavy storyline to wrap up the show with before things turn around for the better in Part 2. The final act of the finale is a genuinely transformative climax to Monk, which feels true to the show's characters while still giving fans what they wanted, with a surprise or two thrown in for good measure. Shalhoub praises the performance of Craig T. Nelson as the chief villain of the episode, but loves the finale most of all for its satisfying conclusion. "I thought we ended the series on such a high note," he commented to First for Women. Mr. Monk and the Garbage Strike. Monk Season 5, Episode 2. Tony Shalhoub as Adrian Monk in a white jumpsuit in the Monk episode Mr. Monk and the Garbage Strike. Surely one of Monk's funniest episodes, Mr. Monk and the Garbage Strike sets up the perfect scenario for the misophobic clean freak Adrian Monk to completely lose his mind. With garbage bags piling up in the streets, Monk drops his investigative work in favor of becoming a garbage collector. "I love the shrink scenes, where the garbage is falling in the background," Tony Shalhoub explained. "There's just garbage everywhere." With his character taking his eye off the day job, with a vested interest in garbage collectors going back to work, his detective work suddenly turns distinctly shoddy. For a while, Adrian Monk is convinced that the murderer he's trying to catch is none other than legendary shock rocker Alice Cooper, who, according to Monk's theory, chooses his victims based on an obsession with antique wingback chairs. The show even managed to get the rock star himself to make a cameo appearance in the episode. "We were going so far, again, outside of our normal formula, and Alice Cooper was just so game and so willing to go along for the ride," Shalhoub remembered. "It was great." Mr. Monk and the Kid. Monk Season 3, Episode 16. Monk Kid Adrian Monk Tony Shalhoub Tommy Grazer. This Season 3 episode of Monk is a favorite of many fans, in addition to Tony Shalhoub, thanks to the adorable bond Adrian Monk creates with a child he's unexpectedly forced to take care of temporarily. Monk is never further out of his comfort zone than when dealing with children. As Shalhoub pointed out, that just wasn't his thing. The scene in which Adrian simultaneously works on his case and reads 2-year-old Tommy Grazer a bedtime story is one of the most brilliantly funny and moving moments of any Monk episode. Mr. Monk and the Kid showcases a completely different side to Adrian Monk, which tugs at the heartstrings and makes us imagine what kind of father he could have been if Trudy hadn't been murdered. Shalhoub's scenes with the titular kid are beautifully shot and accompanied by a tear-jerking piano soundtrack. The bedtime story scene even involves some stop-motion animation to bring Monk's storytelling to life. When Adrian admits he loves his foster child, it's impossible not to feel a lump in your throat. In Shalhoub's words, this was one that we all felt just hit out of the park. Mr. Monk bumps his head. Monk Season 4, Episode 11. Adrian Monk, Tony Shalhoub, wearing a bee suit in Mr. Monk bumps his head. The premise of Mr. Monk bumps his head allowed Tony Shalhoub and the writers of Monk to venture into uncharted territory with the show's title character. Shalhoub's Emmy-winning performance as Adrian Monk with memory loss following a bump on the head portrays a very different private investigator from the one we're used to seeing. "He's in an altered state because he's got amnesia," Shalhoub told First for Women. Despite this altered state, Monk's neuroses still manage to shine through, despite a kidnapper named Cora's best efforts to condition him into loving her as his wife. Shalhoub especially enjoyed working with guest star Laurie Metcalf, who plays Cora in the episode. "I could not keep a straight face in those scenes with her," he recalled. The scenario of Cora taking advantage of Adrian Monk's memory loss is akin to a comedy version of Stephen King's Misery. Yet Monk ultimately doesn't let amnesia stand in the way of a criminal investigation, and still manages to do some of his best detective work, regardless of the apparent bee problem in Purnell, Wyoming, where Cora is holding him captive. Mr. Monk and the Three Pies. Monk Season 2, Episode 1. Out of the 125 episodes that make up Monk's 8-season run, the Season 2 premiere, Mr. Monk and the Three Pies, appears to be Tony Shalhoub's favorite. It centers on the reunion between Adrian Monk and his estranged brother Ambrose, played by frequent Coen Brothers collaborator John Turturro. "John and I had worked together in the past on Coen Brothers movie, Barton Fink, and done theater together, and we were friends," Shalhoub explained. "The fact that he agreed to do this with us was exciting, and working with him again was thrilling." Incredibly, Ambrose Monk is even smarter and more neurotic than his brother Adrian, and lives as a recluse at their childhood home due to his chronic agoraphobia. The moment when the two brothers reunite is one of the show's most emotionally affecting, and the on-screen chemistry between old friends Shalhoub and Turturro, who also share a physical likeness, makes it even more compelling. Ambrose would go on to appear in several more episodes, cementing John Turturro's status as one of Monk's best guest stars. It's not just the brotherly love that makes this Monk episode so special for Tony Shalhoub, though. The show's main star enjoys the murder investigation in the